Hello and welcome to episode 20 of the Clean Energy Show. I'm Brian Stockton.
And I'm James Whittingham, talking to you from Uplands in Regina in this historic day as we reach a seminal mark in our podcasting career here with the Clean Energy Show. A show, Brian, about two guys just talking about the latest in clean energy, and it's a fun. I think it's a different show, don't you?
It's essential listening, really. I'm confused why everybody isn't listening.
Yeah, that is weird.
Yeah.
I don't know why everyone isn't listening. People, tell your friends. If you are listening to this, tell your friends, for goodness sake. Spread the word. Get an airplane and put a banner on it if you can hire one. And Clean Energy Show. We're here, and we're doing a heck of a job, I think. How are you today?
Good. 20 episodes. That's almost half a year, weekly episodes.
It is. That's impressive. That's bloody impressive. Do you know most podcasts don't last about 8 episodes?
Yeah. We've lasted twice as long as most
we're
podcasts.
Permanent now. We're a real deal. We survived a pandemic, for God's sake.
Well, as we discussed, it's a 10-year limited series, though. So
yes,
should we do 500 episodes or should we do 520? Because that would be, one a week for, what do you think?
We'll have to look at that in about 5 years and start having discussions in the last 5 years so we can make sure that we know what we're going to do. But it's a hell of a run and essential listening, as you've said. And there's all kinds of news this week in clean energy. Brian, we have to have an important discussion, though.
Okay.
I'm going away on vacation next week, thanks to you.
So the run is ending.
Will we have a show next week? I mean, what am I going to do? Call in from my car?
Yeah, probably not. It's next week. It falls on Canada Day, and we have to take Canada Day off as proud Canadians.
Well, it's a holiday. It's official. I mean, I think Trudeau would come in with the RCMP if we podcast on Canada Day.
Yeah, so probably a week off.
And who's listening on Canada Day anyway?
Exactly.
Non-fireworks this year and non-celebration this year. Okay. Darn. It's too bad I'm going away on vacation because we could have had faux fireworks here on the show at the end, And now...
well, maybe we should just release an episode that's just audio of fireworks.
Oh, Canada and fireworks. All right, what's new this week in clean energy?
Well, before we get to news...
did you go for a walk this morning?
No, I went for a bike ride today.
Oh, my God, that is news.
And a couple of things. I haven't been biking that much. I think it's mostly been the weather, but, it's been super warm lately. So, I'm out of shape, but I got on the bike. I rode downtown.
Why downtown?
Oh, I went to the Green Spot Cafe and bought some cinnamon buns to go.
Oh, but that is just the healthiest possible thing you could have done on your bike ride.
Yeah, exactly. It's the calories probably equaled out, but
no, they did not equal out.
No, you don't think so?
You probably would have had the bike to Winnipeg. I'm just saying, people overestimate the exercise that calories actually burn. Okay.
But here's the thing. I did burn a lot of calories because it was really difficult because I haven't been biking. I'm out of shape. It was really difficult. And the problem I'm having is that I know that e-bikes exist and I don't have one. Oh. Therefore, if e-bikes didn't exist, I would just accept that, okay, this is difficult.
Uh-huh.
And I would just accept it. But because I know e-bikes exist and I don't have one, that's what I was thinking about the whole time, how much better this would be if I had an e-bike. So it's a real mental game, but it did end up, it's such a nice day today that, I don't know, in the end, I didn't mind the workout, but it was one of those days where, just a bit of a light breeze, but it seemed like it was a headwind in both directions. You ever had one of those days?
Yeah. No, I mean, the muscles that you use in cycling are not muscles that you use every day, unless you're going to the gym and doing squats or something. They're just not, they're not getting used. They're actually smaller than muscles you would use for, say, walking or jogging. I think they're more limited.
Right.
And then they get a strain put on them. Is your bicycle seat at the proper height?
I think so. I think it's a good ergonomic bike.
There should only be a slight bend to your knee at the bottom.
Yeah, I think that's what I got.
A lot of people, and this is a public service announcement, a lot of people do not have their bicycle seat adjusted properly. If you are cycling at all and you don't know anything about it and you think that you know and you don't know, then God, look it up on the internet and check it out, because there should only be a slight bend to your knee. I know that seems unnatural, but I see people all the time, like every day, going around with their bike inches low, and even a half an inch, a centimeter even would make it, actually makes a big difference, because it's you get a lot more force on your legs and they get less sore. But people go around not doing it very well anyway. So that's my public service announcement. It'd be like if everybody had bionic limbs, and you're thinking, Jesus, I'm walking to the store. Hell, I'm going to the fridge like a sucker, because bionic limbs exist, and I could be going, like having it powered. And one day we're going to get there. It's going to be like, why should I think of my grocery list when I can put a chip in my head like everyone else and memorize everything? We're going to just lean to that. The funny thing is, and I've talked about this before, but whenever I turn off my bike motor on my e-bike, I just slog along and think, there's no way I could have biked without it. I'm so used to this. But what I never realize, and I always have to force myself to realize, is that it's in the hardest gear. It's in gear number 27 out of 27, the hardest of them, because that's what the electric motor. So, of course, when the motor's off, it's hard to push. I just don't realize that, because it's easy to push when the motor's on. So what I should be doing is just going to an easier gear and going slow. I have not ridden a normal bike since, and I have to do that. I'll be doing a lot of e-biking at the lake next week, and trying it out for the first time for longer distances and seeing how she does.
Yeah, and I'm still, getting bored. I'm running out of neighborhoods to walk in, so I hope to maybe do more biking rather than walking in the coming pandemic days.
Did you enjoy your bike ride at all, though?
Oh, it was fabulous. Yeah, I can go from my house mostly through the park, through Wascana Park, so I don't have to go on too many city streets, and the ones that are city streets have a bike lane. So I love biking downtown from my house. It's great.
So you locked up at the shop, did you?
Yeah, locked up, and there are new bicycle lockup posts downtown that I hadn't seen before, hadn't used before.
How do you like them?
So that was nice. Oh, they were great.
Yeah.
And I got to the green spot quite early, so the cinnamon buns were still warm, and there were hardly any customers. So I just grabbed them and left. Didn't have to spend too much time there.
It was probably a pandemic outbreak the day before.
Yeah. That was probably it.
The servers dropped. I'm just putting out theories. We have no cases in Regina, and it's spreading through a Hutterite colony in the southwest.
Yeah, we're not out of the woods, but no active cases in our city makes me hopeful and, a little bit more likely to go places. But I'm still not ready to spend any time indoors. Takeout orders only, I think, for me.
Yes, big, fat, fresh cinnamon buns. How were they?
Oh, fantastic. These are among the best cinnamon buns ever.
Can you describe them in a pornographic way?
Light, fluffy.
Go on.
Pornographic.
Oh,
that's all.
Really? Okay. Yeah. So they're what you want in a cinnamon bun. They're everything you'd want in a cinnamon bun. And fresh.
Absolutely. Yes.
Totally like fresh. Made this morning?
Yeah, they only make them on Wednesdays and Saturdays. So they're going to be fresh.
What else are they known for there?
Well, it's like a little vegetarian cafe. It's a good spot for a vegetarian lunch.
Yeah, okay. I didn't know we had any vegetarian cafes.
No, and here's a weird thing. I don't know if you follow me on Instagram, but
I don't.
I wasn't going to walk in...
You have an Instagram?
Yeah. BD Stockton on Instagram. And I was going for a walk. I wasn't going to walk in the industrial areas. I was only going to walk in the neighborhoods. But I've run out of places to walk. So last week I went for a walk in an industrial area.
Really?
And check out my Instagram, BD Stockton. I found a photograph of this place called Measurement Canada. There's this government department called Measurement Canada, and they have this amazing sign on their building.
Really?
From the 1970s that says, "A fair measure for all." And that's their slogan. And I took a picture that's on my Instagram.
BB Stockton.
BD. BD Stockton.
Oh, I am following you. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
It'd be rude of me not to, but sometimes, you miss people. You don't understand that they're there. So, okay, that's weird. I don't think I read the description. I'm not a I don't spend a lot of time on Instagram, so I just peruse it.
Yeah.
I probably should have read the description. Ladies and gentlemen, Brian's Instagram following just doubled because our show is that popular.
And at Brian Stockton on Twitter, I could use a doubling of my following there as well. You know, I posted what I thought was the most brilliant tweet ever. You know, hey, sometimes you write a tweet and you think, oh, this could go viral.
Gold.
This is gold. Anyway, I made my greatest tweet ever a couple of 3 days ago, and it has absolutely 0 likes.
Zero?
0 retweets, yeah.
It must have been bad.
So I'm not going to say what it is, but please check it up at Brian Stockton on Twitter. And if you think it's as brilliant as I do, please like it.
People are just going to pity like it.
Yeah, it's currently my pinned tweet. I liked it so much, I made it my pinned tweet. And now it's just embarrassing because it has no likes and no retweets.
Facebook is the most brilliant computer virus of all time.
That's my tweet.
That's not bad, but I missed it. This is the first time I'm seeing it.
See, sometimes I think the algorithm gets messed up. That's my theory.
Here's your problem. It's 7:26 in the morning.
Well, yeah, but Twitter doesn't work on real time anymore. It works on an algorithm.
Farmers aren't going to like that tweet.
I guess.
Old men are not going to like that tweet. You're working on old man time.
So if I waited till 10 a.m., it would have taken off.
You got to wait till peak Twitter time, man. It's like, I'd say 10:30, 11 would be a good time. But problem is everyone knows that and it gets lost in the feed. I have not bought into Twitter's algorithm, and I just do latest tweets first. Screw it. I get most of my breaking news from Twitter, and I don't want to miss that. So I'm getting the latest first. I don't really care if I miss anything, unless I miss a tweet like this, which is gold. Facebook is the most brilliant computer virus of all time. Brian Stockton. Go like that tweet right now. It'll do a lot for the show. You'll hear Brian really perk up. Then in the next show, it'll be a different man.
All right. Should we get to some actual clean energy news?
Well, if we have to.
Yeah. So I was going to start with this story from, again, the Fully Charged YouTube channel, which we talked about last week.
Wow. You know, it's fallen on hard times, Brian, if I can interject. People have kind of turned against it a bit, but you're just right there all the time.
Well, they've had a few decent videos recently, but yeah, no, I'm sort of anti-Fully Charged YouTube channel.
Johnny,
myself.
the guy Johnny, he left.
Yeah.
I wonder if it was a tiff.
But he was real boring anyway, so.
Yeah, he's kind of like, okay.
Yeah, and they spent all of last year writing a book, the Fully Charged book. That didn't make any sense to me. No one buys books anymore.
No, they don't. What's a book? I got a phone book yesterday, speaking of books.
Oh, yeah, I got one recently, too.
What the hell am I going to do with that? Honest to God, that is not going to see the light of day. I'm not even going to take the plastic off of it.
Yeah, I still I have a spot for it on my bookshelf, so I recycled the old one, put the new one up there, but I think, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I referenced a phone book, but it's been a while.
The thing is, in Regina, you can ask them not to publish it, right?
I don't know.
I think you can. Because I don't think we've been in the phone book for a long time. Or we have cell numbers only, so that's complicated things. Right. I don't think they can put cell numbers in that easily.
Right.
Unless it used to be the telephone company that published or was associated with publishing the book would own all the telephone numbers and put them in there. But that's, you'd have to pay extra to have an unpublished number, which was like $3 or $4 a month, wasn't it? Maybe $6 a month.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I forgot about that.
I think my brother did that.
Yeah.
He was an anarchist early in life, and he didn't want to be found. Go ahead. Okay,
so getting back to Fully Charged, the YouTube channel, they have a Shanghai correspondent. We talked about one of their reviews last week. He's got a new review, and James, this review is the answer to everything you've been waiting for in electric vehicles. He's got a review of the Aura R1, which costs £7,000. This is a low-cost new electric vehicle for China, and it's what you've been waiting for, low-cost electric vehicles.
It is, and one of our Twitter users said about this very story, little second car replacements like this $7,000 Chinese city car could do more for clean energy in urban settings than any Teslas. Your thoughts on that controversial statement from Cleanhead on Twitter?
Well, I think eventually, yeah, they'll have to catch up to Tesla. But yeah, this is what we've been waiting for: low-cost electric vehicles.
I
This
want
is great.
electric cars for the masses. But
Yeah.
still, people where we live, and most people in North America will still say, I need a car for my longest yearly trip, even though I only do it once or twice a year. I mean,
Yeah,
that was kind of like your case, really.
No, and we are a sort of an odd case because we live in the middle of nowhere in the prairies. So, yeah, long distance driving is a very common thing around here. So it's going to be a different calculus for people living in, actual cities that are close to things.
But if you can get, hundreds of thousands of $7,000 cars out there that go a short distance, which is what most people do. I mean, they always say, when the Leaf came out in 2010, they said, well, most people only drive 40 miles a day, and this does 87. This is North American statistics. So, yeah, but the thing is, you do more than 40 miles in your commute, and sometimes you stop for groceries, and sometimes, you get the kid from the sitter, and you do this and that, and it adds up, and you're going to not be inconvenienced by that. But, yeah, this could... How many miles is it, do you know?
I have forgotten now. It's definitely on the lower range, but it wasn't terrible. I've forgotten.
I think it's around 90 miles, 80. Yeah. I think it's like an early Leaf.
Yeah.
Now, would I buy an early Leaf or that?
Well, at that price, new vehicle, if we were able to get them here in Canada, this would be like 10 grand Canadian.
That's what I paid for my Leaf. The thing is, the Leaf is a nice car, and it's probably a bigger car. It handles well. It's got features, and it's just a decent car. It's not a low end Hyundai Accent or something. It's a decent middle of the road car. So.
Yeah, this is a bit more Spartan. It's definitely made more for a Chinese market, more for a European market. Here in North America, we tend to like, big cars.
The thing is, once there's thousands and thousands of these out there, there'll be thousands and thousands of used ones of these out there.
Yeah.
So instead of choosing between a $10,000 Leaf, you can choose like a $4,000 used electric car. Oh, I can't wait. And this is what we'll be watching over the 10-year span of our show, which we still have 9.5 years to go. But it's looking good. So what do you think of the car? Would you buy one as a second car?
I would consider buying one. Like I'm considering right now as a second car, buying a used Leaf similar to yours. So yeah, if this was an option, I would absolutely consider it.
What do you think about the styling? Because this Chinese styling is a little bit new to everybody in North America.
Yeah, no, I like the styling because it's kind of weird looking, like I've always kind of liked weird cars. I mean, I'm unusual that way. Not everybody does. Like we owned a Nissan Cube, and that was a weird looking car.
Oh yeah, it doesn't get weirder than that.
But that's what I liked about it. So yeah, the styling doesn't seem suited for most North American buyers, but I'm good with it.
Well, if you're a young person, you also bought a Kona, which is a bit unusual. They're kind of ubiquitous now. Or no, you didn't buy a Kona. You bought a Soul. The Soul is kind of
a Soul, yeah,
hamster-like, which they sort of played up in the marketing. That was unusual, but. It seems to be widely accepted and is a very, very popular vehicle now. There's one in every block, at least 2 in every block. So I mean, if they get out there, it'll be a good thing. And then this is just one of many. I mean, Chinese companies will be bringing probably at least 20 different versions of something like this to market out of a very low end car, but they're also bringing premium vehicles and everything in between. So that is coming in the next couple of years, starting apparently right now. So the Chinese auto invasion has begun.
Yeah. And it's, as we said before, it's going to depend a lot on things like battery supply. Like everybody's ramping up their battery production. And if the industry is definitely going to switch over to electric, it's going to be to a large extent determined by how fast and how cheaply everybody can make all the batteries we're going to need.
The review, I did see a bit of it, and he said it's very fun to drive.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. It's probably low to the ground. It's probably a bit like didn't he compare it to a Fiat?
It looks to me more like a Nissan Micra. I don't know if you remember that car.
Is that defunct now?
It may be, yeah. I think they just recently discontinued it, but it
Wasn't
was
that
Nissan's cheapest car.
Under 10,000 American, right?
It was under 10,000 Canadian, yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay. And I guess no one liked it.
No, it was a popular car. It always did fairly well in Canada as a low budget option, but it kind of had its run. It was available for the last 10 years or so.
Was it? Holy cow,
Yep.
time flies.
Oh, yeah. No, and they had fun kind of customization options. Like you could sort of get weird color combinations and they did that with the Nissan Cube too. There was certain little, of your own kind of personal touches. Mini does that a little bit too, where you can choose different stripes and different paint packages and stuff. So it was Nissan's kind of fun car. And they have a Rally Cup competition, the Nissan Micra Cup.
Really?
And people, race these in Canada in this Micra Rally League. And I think it's somewhere in Ontario, and you sort of, for like 20 grand, you buy the car and you get to race for a season in the Micra Cup. And people all kind of race these same cars. It's, amateur fun racing.
Well, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Brian, the whole self-driving thing is very important to the progression of clean energy because basically all the cars in the world will be self-driving, and if they're part of a fleet, part of a company, they'll be electric because it's cheaper, and therefore they'll be cleaner. And even you could go beyond that and say that they'll be powered by solar because the electricity for that large corporation that's powering all this fleet will create its own solar energy and stuff like that and wind to power that fleet. Tesla, in an unusual move this week, said that they admitted that their way of self-driving is harder than the other people like Waymo, which is like one of the Google sub-company. Their way is harder, but they figure that they'll be able to scale it faster. So what's that saying is the competition will be able to maybe get approved first, say in Phoenix. Suddenly it becomes a full, non-trial, geo-fenced in the city limits of Phoenix, nice weather and all that. But Tesla says that they can scale it faster. So they'll get there maybe even, what they're admitting for the first time is they might get there later, but they'll be able to scale it faster because their cars learn everything and understand all the nuances of different things from all the data that gets sent back from people like you and everyone else, that they'll just be able to say, okay, well, we can roll this out everywhere, or at least, all of North America at once.
Yeah, well, the idea behind the Tesla system, it's all based on vision because that's how the current system is based. Like human drivers have vision, and that's how we interpret the road. So yeah, they're trying that tactic of emulating what's already happening. And it sounds like it is harder, but yeah, it should have more legs eventually and have more adaptability. So yeah, that does sound about right that they may get there a bit later, but be better at it.
Tesla has a software update this week that some people are getting, the early adopters are getting, that allows it to drive through a green light. Have you ever, and it's only if you're tailing another car, but if you're trailing another car and you're going through a green light, it will now let you through. Have you been in that situation with traffic lights?
No, and I think you need the full self-driving package to have that. That's more of a full self-driving feature.
You should have bought full self-driving so that we could talk about it on the show. You could have written it off with all the profits we're making from the show.
Good point.
That's what people do at bigger clean energy sites like electric. They just buy 6 Teslas because it's all a write-off to the millions of dollars they're making, or at least decent money. And they can afford it in the first place. So what else do you have on your end?
Well, just again on the issue of batteries and energy storage, in the UK, they've begun production on the world's largest liquid air battery.
Really?
So there's more than one way to store energy. Like we've been talking mostly on this show about battery storage, and I think that's going to be the biggest one.
Body fat.
But there are all kinds of alternate ways to store energy. Again, like, while the sun is shining, you want to store energy so that you can use it at night when the sun is not shining or the wind is not blowing. There's a great video again on the Fully Charged channel from a few years ago where there's a project somewhere in UK or Europe where they just pump water all day. There's this sort of upper reservoir on a mountain. And during the day, when they've got lots of solar energy, they just pump water up there and fill it full of water.
They do that in Canada in places. I think there's a place in Canada that does that.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a brilliant system because you just pump the water up there, and then at nighttime, you just drain it all back to the lower reservoir, and, it can just generate power all night.
Hydropower.
So, but this is a liquid air battery. It's the world's largest. It's going to be able to store 250 kilowatt hours. I'm just trying to, there's the figure here. It'll store 250, megawatt hour of energy. And it's basically, you're just compressing air into tanks and doing the same kind of thing. So again, when the sun is shining, use these compressors to compress air, store them in the tanks, and then at night or when the sun's not shining, you can let the air out of the tanks and generate power.
It sounds like it can't be that efficient.
Well, it seems to be efficient enough that they're going to try it anyway. So I guess we'll see. They're just starting construction now.
What's it called?
It's a liquid air battery, it's called.
Why is it liquid air? Because it's compressed so much?
Yeah, once you just take regular air and you compress it so much, it eventually turns into liquid.
They were talking about, I think they did a study on using stored water at the Hoover Dam. So you would pump water on the downside of the dam to the dam side of the dam all day, and then release it at night. And apparently there's massive, it seems weird because they're already using it as a generating station, but if they pump more water, I guess they can use it even more. So it's just massive. It's like a significant chunk of what the stored energy that California and Nevada would need could be done just with that one project. It would be a massive project, billions of dollars, and who knows about the environmental impacts of putting pipes in and all that. But it is an interesting option. It's just a question of whether it's cheap enough. And as batteries get cheaper, and they get cheaper every year, like lithium batteries, it's just hard to say, at what, because if you're making something that's supposed to last, like they talk about new nuclear technology, but it takes 10 years to get off the ground, and it has to operate for 50 years. Well, what's battery storage going to be 20 years from now? What's it going to be 30 years from now? And is it really worth doing that? I don't know. But, I don't know.
I'm kind of assuming, lithium ion batteries will win the day once we're making enough of them. Yeah, because they're just getting cheaper. They're still on that cost curve and going down.
So I saw a headline on the CBC that Musk wants to bring high-speed internet to Canada. Disappointingly so, they did not elaborate in the whole article. All I know is that you and I have signed up as an early adopter to apply to early adoption for the Starlink internet service, which I find exciting because here's my proposal, Brian. I propose that we do a live show if one of us gets it. We do a live show on Starlink, and we can tell everybody that we're doing it from Starlink. And of course, we do it day one, and I would talk about my breakfast and whatever else, and it would be just exciting technology. It would be groundbreaking. I don't think I'm going to get it because I live in the city. You have a rural property that maybe you can have an advantage with.
Yeah. So on the Starlink website, there's a place where you can sign up, put your email address and your postal code to be a potential beta tester. So yeah, we've both done that. I put in my rural postal code for the cottage property. So we'll see. Yeah, they're going to roll it out more to rural areas because the service won't work as well in an urban center because they're not going to have the bandwidth necessarily for a crowded city. So that'd be great. I'd love to do a live show over the Starlink internet.
Okay, now what does that mean? Does that mean that you have a city, you'd have to have like a lot of satellites just clustered over that city in order to give it operational? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah. Well, the satellites, they're constantly rotating around the Earth. Like they're not stationary. So so your internet signal, and they finally, for the first time ever also on the internet this week, there was pictures of what the base station is going to look like.
Oh, is there?
So it's a big round disc. So if you are sign up for the service, you'll have to buy or you'll have to rent this big round disc, which is your ground
Can you send me a
satellite
picture of that?
receiver. What's that?
Send me a picture of that so I can post it with our feed.
Yeah, that's a great idea. But the first pictures appeared this week, and they had a few of them. I think maybe they were at the SpaceX site or something like that. But it's a big round disc the size of like a large pizza, and you'll be able to just plug that in, and it's going to self-orient and point up towards the appropriate satellites.
It's going to move.
It's going to move.
Really?
I don't know if it's going to keep moving or if it just stays in the same place. But the satellites are going to be continually rotating, so you'll be constantly communicating with a different satellite. Like it's going to keep switching off every few minutes.
Really?
So it's going to be this big network. And so, but at any one time for one particular area, you'll all be communicating with the same satellite at the same time. So there'll be a limited bandwidth per satellite. So a crowded city like New York City, you wouldn't be able to have a bunch of customers there because everybody in New York City would be trying to use the same satellite at the same time.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's very interesting. I did not know that at all. That's news to me. So there's a lot of people, though, that do live in rural areas that don't have high-speed internet, especially in Canada where we're so spread out. I think it's 40% of rural Canadians don't have high-speed internet or even availability. At least they don't even have the choice for it, even if it is pricey. So, yeah, that'll be interesting.
No, and of course, a lot of the developing world as well. But yeah, just the orbit that the satellites are in, like they've got around 500 satellites up there now. The northern hemisphere is where they're going to start because that's where the current satellites are.
Are they? Okay. Yeah. So, wow. I mean, this could happen fairly soon then.
Yeah, it should be public beta within 3 or 4 months from now is what they're saying.
Ooh, stay tuned, everyone. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Brian, I'm going to interject here. Instead of doing it at the end of the show, I'm going to bring up the ways that people can contact us. Because I know right now you're worked up into a froth and you want to contact us. It's cleanenergyshow, one word, @gmail.com. That's our email. Email is a thing. You can use it. You can even send us sound files. You can send us questions. You can send us comments. You can send us links to news stories that you think is interesting. On Twitter, we're CLN Energy Show, one word. That's Twitter. We're there. We love you. Send us some messages. And speakpipe.com. That's speakpipe.com/cleanenergyshow. You can leave very easily. Hit a little button on your laptop or your phone and hit a record and leave us a message. And you too could be on the Clean Energy Show, which we love because we get sick of each other. It'd be so nice to have somebody else blathering on about something on the show. And when we do that, it's always exciting, Brian.
Yeah.
What else do you have?
That's it for me. Is it time for the lightning round?
No, it's not time for the lightning round because I want you to comment on the video that was going around of the Tesla in Saskatchewan that avoided a deer on autopilot.
Oh, yeah, that was fabulous. Yeah, local Tesla owner here in our province was driving to Calgary here on the prairies and posted a fantastic video from the Tesla cameras where the Tesla avoided a deer.
Can you describe it in more detail?
Well, you got this Tesla, it's driving down the highway. It's dawn, so it's sort of half daylight. And the driver did not see the deer, but the car did, and it swerved, made a little correction, went around the deer.
Yeah, I would call it a big correction because it went right into the shoulder. Well, the paved shoulder of the oncoming lane. It was a 2-lane highway with not much of a shoulder. So it was quite a remarkable move by the car, I thought. Now, people say, what happens if a truck was coming? Apparently it knows that. And my God, Brian, what if it was wrong? It would kill you. And that would be that. So that's a scary thing about autopilot. But I mean, as a person who was in a car that hit a deer in Wyoming last year, 11 months ago, and was horrified by the whole incident because the car was partially wrecked and we were a long way from anywhere, let alone home. And it was Yeah, it'd be really nice. The first thing I thought of was, geez, I wish I had a Tesla, and I wish it was avoiding deer. I wish it something could avoid that, because we can react. I mean, the Tesla can see better than us. In fact, I hope that there's a day where Teslas and every other car will be able to detect deer in ditches that not necessarily looking at if you're focused on the road.
Yeah.
People tend to have tunnel vision. Even if you're trying to look out for deer, you tend to have tunnel vision if you're on a long trip on the highway. I would really look forward to the day, because that happens a lot in Saskatchewan. And I imagine it happens a lot in Wyoming, because there was millions of deer. They all go there, and they're all just ready to jump out in front of you. Yeah.
No, I've never hit one, but I've definitely had several friends that have, including you. I was driving to Saskatoon last summer and narrowly avoided a deer, which then crossed the highway and ran into a truck.
Really?
Yeah. And here's the thing. The self-driving, the Teslas, it won't be able to stop every single collision with a deer, because like in this case, the deer ran into the side of the truck, which was something I didn't expect.
Really?
Normally the
deer
animal would hit the front of the car.
Yeah.
But the deer was running at quite a clip and, just didn't stop, and it ran into the side of a truck.
Oh, did you see it?
Mm-hmm. I did.
What happens when a deer runs into the side of a truck? It just falls down?
It falls down, and I kept driving.
Okay. Okay. No venison for you.
Yeah. Well, they recently passed a law in California where you can eat roadkill.
Oh, that's good. That's good, really. There was a lot of roadkill on my trip to Denver last time. A lot.
I bet.
It was just crazy. You couldn't go 10 feet. And of course, when you see roadkill, when you see a dead deer, freshly dead, you're thinking, okay, well, that could be me now. Mm-hmm. But all the pickup trucks down there have these big, massive bars on them for hitting deer. It's just a game to them. It's just like nothing. Even the police car that came, Highway Patrol, had a big deer guard on it. There's nothing to him. They just keep going.
And speaking of which, some more Tesla Superchargers opened in Montana and North Dakota. So that was kind of one of the last places in the continental U.S. that wasn't covered, and that's near us, of course. So we're getting closer to the day where you and I could drive south in a Tesla and hit Superchargers. I mean, who knows if the border will ever be open, and we may never get to do that. But that was big news. More Superchargers in Montana.
But I ran numbers because I've made that trip 3 years in a row down to Denver 2 years, and Arizona another year, and California. And there is, well, first of all, you think there's nothing in Saskatchewan? There's nothing in that part of Wyoming and Montana. Like, it's just nothing. Nothing. Yeah. This is why I look forward to self-driving, where I can go to sleep and sleep through that part of the trip. The whole first day, because it's just so boring. But Miles City is one place that has the supercharger. And what's another one? Is it Fargo, or where is it?
Fargo was a few weeks ago, and I don't know the names of the other ones.
But answer me this, though. They're both a long way away. They're both like 8-9 hour drives.
I did the math. I think you could do it in a longer range Tesla, but you couldn't do it in Mon in the standard range Plus.
No.
But it's close.
Because you'd have to charge up in Regina.
Yeah, I would charge up fully here. The only way I could do it with my car would be to stop in Weyburn or Estevan and, charge up on a level 2 charger for a while.
Level 2?
Yeah.
Oh, no, wait a minute. They're getting, Weyburn and Estevan are both getting Petro-Canada.
Petro-Canada?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there you go. That'll be soon then.
Did you ever get an adapter for that?
No, I don't. Yeah, the adapters are kind of expensive, so I'm hoping to not have to buy one, or they'll get cheaper or something. But the Tesla has its own proprietary connector, so we'll see.
All right, Brian, it's time for the lightning round. Late breaking news this morning. Tesla increases the Model S and X supercharging rate to 225 kilowatts.
Yeah, that's big news. They were able to do that with just software updates, so that's great. Yeah, the Model 3 is the cheaper car, but it's had the faster charging rate for a while now. So, yeah, if you had an S or an X, which is a more expensive car, it would have been disappointing to not charge as fast, but now they've fixed that.
Well,
I guess not completely. The Model 3 can go to 250 and this is 225, but that's close enough.
Those are peak rates under the ideal conditions and the sweet spot of the battery where it's the fastest, which is what I'm guessing 20 to 40% or something. And if it has 20 to 40% charge, it's going to charge the fastest and then it's going to slow down so it doesn't overheat or hurt the battery. Goldman Sachs sees $16 trillion investment in renewable energy by 2030. $16 trillion. The research note says that clean energy could drive $1 to $2 trillion a year in infrastructure investment between now and 2030 and create 15 to 20 million jobs globally. This is the section of our podcast that covers to 2030, so I thought I'd mention that. And I think they'll be wrong. I think, I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that?
You think it's going to be what, higher or lower?
I don't think it's going to be higher. I think it's going to be twice, 2-3 times that.
Yeah, well, it's this is the decade. We've got in the next 10 years, it's going to all mostly change over. So who knows? And there was another story I saw the other day that Apple is now bigger than the oil and gas industry, something like that. Like the market cap of Apple's around $1.5 trillion, and now the market cap of the oil and gas industry is below that.
I never thought we'd see the day so quickly, but oil and gas is in trouble, and I think forever going to be changed. They will rebound, but not in a way that's going to have growth and prosperity for very long, I don't think. Ford dealers are marking up the Mustang Mach-E by as much as $15,000. Can you believe that?
Yeah, that's a pretty scary story. I don't know. Nobody, I think, enjoys buying a car from a dealership when you have to dicker for the price, or, you never know if you're getting the best price, et cetera, et cetera. And since there is a demand for the electric Mustang,
a big one,
now,
apparently.
It's not out yet, a big demand, and it's pent up because it's not actually released yet. So, yeah, because there's a demand, they're jacking up the prices at the dealerships.
Now, Tesla's had a big demand when they first came out with the Model 3, and you had to wait. Nobody jacked that up. I mean, you could argue that Tesla is, they've offered reductions recently, even after you bought your car, because of pandemic demand is down. But you won't find a dealer jacking up by $15,000, because that is a significant percentage of the cost of the car, and that's American dollars.
Tesla does sometimes change their prices, but it's transparent. It's just whatever the price is on the website, that's what you pay. Occasionally there's little incentives like free charging or something like that, but nobody likes buying a car from a dealership. The whole dealership model really needs to end. It's just terrible.
So spending on renewable power is set to overtake oil and gas drilling for the first time next year. This is 2021 as clean energy affords a $16 trillion investment. There's a lot of money. We're talking all these trillions of dollars pouring into clean energy now because it is proven and it is at a price point where it is irresistible. So we're talking about overtaking, say the money spent putting up wind turbines and solar installations is going to be more than oil and gas spend on drilling for the first time ever next year. Your thoughts?
That's fantastic. I'm a little surprised it hadn't happened already, but obviously that's good news.
Tesla Cybertruck pre-orders rise to over 650,000, says a new report.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. I don't think we have a fully accurate number. Like that's sort of different people doing sleuthing. Tesla hasn't actually said what their number is, but that's probably accurate. But it's $100 deposit, so not everyone's going to convert to an order.
I'm not.
But it's definitely, it's going to be several years before they can meet the demand for that.
If anyone wants to buy me lottery tickets, do so and send me the numbers via email or regular post, because I've put a deposit down and not be able to afford it. The looks on it I have mixed. I need to see it in person. Yeah. But it seems like a lot of vehicle for the money. It actually seems like a good value because I could tow with it and I could go any distance. I could probably drive to Calgary in one tank of electrons, and I could certainly tow with it, which would be about a third of the range probably.
No, the promised ranges are quite good, especially considering it's a fairly large and heavy vehicle. So it's going to depend in part on Tesla Battery Day and what they're announcing in terms of, the battery chemistry and the price of it. It's going to depend on them being able to bring the price of the batteries down for them to be able to put the car out at the nice, fairly low price that they've advertised.
Here's a fun little thing to add on to that. Fred Lambert from Electric talked to a truck driver who co-rolled a Tesla the other day. He actually tracked him down, or the guy contacted him, I'm not sure. And they had a good conversation. He was apologetic about it. Every now and again, you'll see Teslas getting coal-rolled by these idiots in pickup truck and diesel pickup trucks who overdo their exhaust systems, and they try to say, I don't give a shit about anything. And he's asking...
And belch out black smoke.
Yeah, and he's asking, should I post the interview, or should we just not hear from this guy? What do you think?
I'd like to see it. I may not read it, but yeah, sure, post it. I always appreciate it when journalists do stuff like that of contacting someone that's kind of on the other side of the debate. It's one of the reasons I could never be a journalist, because it'd be too uncomfortable for me to be able to talk to somebody like that and ask them the tough questions. So I'm glad Fred has done it, and I'd like to see it.
Now, Lyft, the ride-sharing company, has committed to 100% vehicles by 2030. Again, they're looking at our show and saying, okay, 2030 is a big date. We want to make our deadlines for the clean energy show. They're committing to 100% electric vehicles by then. But they're ending carbon neutral rides, which I guess were an option right now.
Yeah, they had been spending money on carbon offsets or something to sort of get them through the near term. So yeah, some people are upset about that. So in the short term, there's more carbon right now if you use a Lyft, but by 2030, it should be all carbon neutral.
Now, that proves that ride sharing, which will only get larger, especially if there's an autonomous aspect involved, will be electric. However, I'm very, very disappointed by the date. They could be doing this by half that. They could be doing it in 2025.
Yeah, nothing moves fast enough for you, does it, James?
No, it doesn't. But then if everything was done by 2025, we'd be done the podcast in 2025.
That's very true.
And it'll be here before we know it, if the COVID doesn't kill me. Tesla Solar, Brian, now 30% less expensive than industry average in the States with new, exciting pricing.
Yeah, well, Tesla has spent the last couple of years kind of reconfiguring what they're doing with solar, both solar panels and the solar roof tiles that they have. And so it's taken them a while to kind of ramp up and roll all this stuff out. But yeah, it's a lot of it depends again on prices dropping for things like solar panels. Yeah, no, it's exciting. They're not doing a huge solar business right now, but I think it's going to really grow. They're preparing for it to grow by dropping the price like that. So presumably they've ramped up all of their production capacities and can start really rolling it out. This is going to be a huge business for Tesla, possibly even bigger than their car business.
Oh, that's what they're saying. And they a few years ago, they bought Solar City, which I believe was the biggest residential solar company in the States. They bought it and didn't do anything with it. It sat around.
Yeah, again.
Well, they concentrated on Tesla for a while.
Yeah, they put all their resources into Tesla. So Solar City and that part of the business kind of, it sat for a couple of years, but it's ready to wake up and start rolling out.
So in Q1 of 2020, the average residential solar in the United States was $2.83 per watt. With the new prices, a small system will be $2.44 per watt, and an extra large system will only be $1.84 per watt. As cheap as $1.84.
Bigger the system, the cheaper per watt. Yeah. That's amazing. That's great.
How big is your system?
Mine is it's 8.6 kilowatts.
Okay, that would be, I think that's what they call their medium system. And their small system is actually bigger than mine because it's 4.1 and I'm 3.3. So yeah, the bigger the system, there's always prices involved with permits and the inverter and the wiring and the labor. But the more panels you throw up, the better. Boy, I'm seeing a lot of solar in Regina. I think it really would have taken off if they didn't kill the subsidy or the way that they were doing the subsidy. I think it doubled. I really think it was huge because I've seen more than twice as many solar panels in my neighborhood and neighborhoods nearby than I did before. Anyway, Brian, that is the Clean Energy Lightning Round. And now, it's time to say goodbye as we skip next week for Canada Day. And I encourage you all to light your electric fireworks in an environmental way, and have a good Canada Day for those of you in Canada, a good July 4th for those of you in the United States, and for everyone else, the one person who's listening in Guam, have a good weekend.
And we'll see you in 2 weeks.